ये जी हम मौजूद है लिस्बन के सिटी सेंटर में और ये इसकी एक यादगार है, एक ये फाउंटेन है और इसमें एक रवायत के मुताबिक जो रात थी औरंगज़ेब ने बताई, वो ऊपर एक वो जो बाबा था उसकी 4 बीवियां थी। ये बाबा बैठा और इसकी ये 4 बीवियां, ये चारों बीवियां एक एक कॉर्नर पे बैठी हुई हैं, ये देखें। और ये बाबा कौन सा है? ये वाला, ये वो ऊपर देखें चढ़ा हुआ है ये। और ये नीचे अगर आप देखें कॉर्नर्स में तो उसकी 4 बीवियां बैठी हैं, ये देखें। ये पीछे टाउन हॉल लग रहा है और ये एक किस्म का यानी वो चबूतरा सा बना हुआ है, चारों तरफ से सड़क है और गुजरने का रास्ता है। इनकी फ्लोरिंग चेक करें और इनकी शॉप्स चेक करें और बाकी मज़ीद आपको घुमाते हैं, फिराते हैं, लेके जाते हैं और पुर्तगाल का कैपिटल लिस्बन दिखाते हैं।
Under pressure, no more time. Can we make a move? Overthinking, you and I. What do we have to lose? 'Cause I'm wasting all my time thinking of the things we could do.
Well, welcome to Portugal. Simple, right? Wasn't that hard? Good. My name is Fabio. I'm from Portugal, and I'm well, welcome. What about you? I know the reason already.
Yeah, I'm planning to live in Canada, but originally from France. It's also been on my list for a very long time.
How about you, sir?
I'm living in UK, originally from Pakistan.
Well, welcome.
My name is Rana, I'm his brother. I'm originally from Pakistan, lives in UK, so I want to explore the world.
Awesome answer. Very well. You also won 10 points. Thank you. And how about you, sir? It will be true, and you have no idea if it's not. But I'm going to trust. You know, you're going to trust me. You need to trust me. I'll share my knowledge of the city with you, everything that I know, and also my personal input as a local. That way, you have all the tools in your hands to decide whether if Lisbon is actually a cool city to visit or not. Reason why I'm in Portugal, it's basically because mom and dad decided when I was really, really young. But I'm already in Portugal for nearly 20 years already, so I'm mostly Portuguese. I'm aware that, I've already said it, I don't look like I'm original from Portugal. I'm originally from Angola, but I'm aware that I could be from Brazil, from Morocco, from Cabo Verde, maybe even Goa perhaps, but here I am. And now, the second question, are you ready for the tour?
Yes!
Amazing. Usually people are a bit, because it's 10 a.m. in the morning and it's kind of true, but very well. Ready to start? Yeah. Let's go. I like to start this tour by talking a little bit, maybe by telling you an old story, a once upon a time story. So, once upon a time, many, many years ago, when Lisbon was smaller than it is today and cars didn't exist, there used to be an old lady called Dona Carlota, who used to spend her day sitting in front of her dry herb store making ragdolls to spend the time while waiting for her customers. And right in front of her dry herb store, there used to be a market. Right over there, where nowadays it's Praça da Figueira, there used to be a market, and children would love to go to that market with their parents and their grandparents because it felt like going to a playground. They knew everybody, everybody had a name. So from time to time, some mornings were spent observing this old lady making her ragdolls. Until one day, one of these kids decided to go to her and asked her if she could fix her doll's boots. Come to me tomorrow morning and I'll have your dolls fixed. When morning came, when the Carlota had already had dolls fixed for the kids, and she was really, really happy. So soon after that, word spread out that there was this magical spot that could bring your dolls back to life. And that's how, there right behind you, the Dolls Hospital came about, they'll give you like a patient's file to describe whatever happened to the doll. And they still receive dolls from all over the place, from Hong Kong, from Japan, from the US, from Canada. So I really think if Toy Story ever decides to do like an actual movie with actual persons, they should never come to Portugal and do a visit to this store. Because they're already a thing for 200 years already. Usually Toy Story is on the business of just buying and selling dolls, but here's a magical enterprise that actually cares within the relationship between yourself and the doll. There's a reason why there's over there at Dolls Hospital. Right where we are today, at this moment, Praça da Figueira, throughout the 16th, the 17th and the 18th century, this is where the biggest Lisbon hospital was before. It was known as All Saints Hospital, and it was commonly known as the Poor's Hospital, because it was the biggest one, it was the one which was able to receive the most patients. So that lady over there was in fact a really, really good entrepreneur. She did her market study. That's why there's over there at Dolls Hospital. Okay, the hospital, the greatest Lisbon hospital, the All Saints Hospital, ceased to be over here in this area because in 1755 we had the biggest earthquake of Lisbon. It's one of the biggest earthquakes in history with registered earthquakes, and so it literally went to ruins. That's why it ceased to exist. But that's where the idea of building that Dolls Hospital came from. Another detail about this square, you might have noticed, is that statue is not on the center. Usually statues are on the center, and that guy over there is our king. He's the first king of our second dynasty. But there's a reason why the statue is so far behind. Come through. So this statue was built after the earthquake, and so all this area was rebuilt after that. So when they decided to build the statue for the first time, they decided that the king shouldn't stare at another building. He should be staring at the entrance of Lisbon. That thing over there at the end is called the entrance, and it's one of the main entrances, if not the main entrance of Lisbon. Before, that's where all the boats, or the caravels, used to arrive from Lisbon, and they want to unstock all of their belongings, all of that stock. So the king basically is staring at the entrance of Lisbon. Before also, the river was a lot closer than it is today. The sea level, the river level was a lot higher than it is today. So everything was a lot closer. That's why the statue is over here. And about the story about this guy. This guy became our first king, or the first king of our second dynasty. Basically, the history goes as it follows. In 1580, we had a succession crisis. Basically, the government or the Kingdom of Portugal decided to do a negotiation with the Kingdom of Spain. They negotiated their wedding, and the prince and the princess of both kingdoms would be married, and the result of that union would be the next king of the Iberian Peninsula. However, they both died before they were able to produce a king, a son, and basically succession went to the Spaniards. For at least 60 years, the management of Portugal was on the care of the Spanish kingdom, and the Portuguese, especially for the Portuguese elite, wasn't really happy with it, because most of our colonies, or at least the management of our colonies, were more in favor of the Spanish government, and that resulted in the less government, or the less capacity to govern our lands, namely Brazil colony and Indian colonies. Also, because of that, Portugal has the longest alliance in the world with England, because of the Windsor Treaty, but because of that, because we were no longer Portugal, a free kingdom, basically the Englishmen, the Dutch, and also the French, especially the English and the Dutch, they decided to attack our boats. So after 60 years, our elite was tired of it, so we killed the Spanish representative, and basically we elect this guy, Dom João I, as the next king of Portugal. He's known as the Duque de Bragança, or the Dynasty de Bragança, because Bragança is a city from up north, and that's why. And also, the statue is represented in him on top of a horse. Usually, we represent our kings with swords or with horses to give them a more symbolic relationship with war, being a more bellic. This was not the case. He never went to war, in fact, but he's being represented in this way because it was really, really important to us against our most or biggest rivals, the Spaniards. Goody, goody? Let's go. nightlife starts in Lisbon. It's like it's an entire neighborhood dedicated towards nightlife. There's lots of residents, but there are also lots of bars and restaurants and so on. So when I was younger, and I used to go there to hang out with my friends and have my nightlife. And so before I was also charged by retrieving money from those machines, but I was unaware of how it worked. So for a couple of weeks I was going there, I was just retrieving money until eventually I noticed, wait, there's money missing. Why? What is the reason? Eventually I found out the reason, and nowadays I can actually retrieve money without being charged because he has the Portuguese ID, whatever, identification. But before it was a thing. And if you go to Bairro Alto, you're noticing there's lots of ATM machines.
Yeah.
If you go to Bairro Alto, there's almost one in each corner, or at least there's a few corners where you can find like 2 in one block or 3. It's crazy.
How much do they charge?
Oh, I have no idea. Because they might have changed the value or but it's proportional. Yeah. I want you guys to look behind you. See that amazing infrastructure over there? Gray light. It's amazing. It's beautiful. That thing is a touristic trap. Do not go there. Okay? It was first planned to build more or less during our second industrial revolution, and the purpose was also to show off, to say that we were actually able to build in that way. And that thing, it is an amazing infrastructure. The main purpose is to connect downtown area to Largo do Carmo, so the Rua do Ouro, Gold Street, that's the name of that street over there, to the uptown of that neighborhood. It's called Largo do Carmo, so that lift is also called Carmo's Lift or Santa Justa's Lift, which is the name of that area. But if you really want to go there, because it's the city, you should definitely go there if you have the opportunity. But there's a queue line of 3 hours. You're in Paris. And so we bought this area, this small establishment. It has 4 square meters. 4 square meters. And basically, he decided to sell his books. Over here, and even today, it's him and his son. And so the library, it's like this size at most. So it's not just a small curiosity, and this is definitely a good spot to come.
Is it internet specific?
Came about in the 19th century in the middle of the small streets of Alfama, Moraria and Bairro Alto, which were the neighborhoods where all the outcasts of the city used to live, all the poors, all the commoners, all the Jews, all the Muslims. So these areas were mainly melting pots or stews of different cultures, and basically they also all share the same fate, being the poors and being the commoners, and can get a better deal. I can sweeten up this deal a bit more. So he called him back and he said, "Hey cousin, yeah, I know, we just have a talk, we decided to divide the world in 2, it's an amazing deal. However, I think we could, like, the balance is not really well into my favor, so maybe we can like even out a bit more. Can I have like just this portion of the world? It's down south, it's just ocean, it doesn't matter to you, it's okay, you don't mind, right?" And the Spanish king was like, "Ocean? Nowadays we have some tools and resources that enable us to actually take advantage of some resources of the sea, but back then it was nothing. The sea or the ocean was like a desert." And he was like, "Of course, you're crazy, but sure, you can have it." He hung up the phone. And that's the actual story of how Portugal got its biggest economy of all, Brazil. This is not the part about the phone, okay, that's a lie, but this is an actual story of how Portugal got Brazil. And fast forward a few years after that, we had, like I told you, in 1540, 1580, we had a succession. And he's making this point because back in the day, nowadays you can go to any kind of story, a book or a movie called about turning around the world in 80 days. Travel around the world in 80 days. So William Fogg is the main character of the book. And so, what you did just now, you just travel around the world in 5 minutes. Oh. Up there's Golden Gate Bridge, and the fog actually gives you that. Yeah, market money. Right. Don't be too nice. Up there, right next to the yellow thing. Over there. Or maybe to your left. Something that's also not similar to Notre Dame. Or maybe up there, that thing looks like not a parrot, not similar. I think it's more similar to not exactly. Maybe Shan't reverse the elevator, Carmos left. You can just come over here and actually enjoy the view. Sitting down, drinking, enjoy your time, instead of being like village. It's much more entertaining. This is like a gem. And it also took some time to discover this place. And it's still not yet that many that's famous. So it's good. And